see her level damage. Search. Oh, again.
Man, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Like, oh wait, this could be a lot of damage right here. Oh, never mind. I take it back. It's another Wow. Vortex kick. Vortex kick. Bart's
And
down.
killing that Bart.
Oh,
Wow, that's game.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wbel Season 2 Week 6. As always, I'm joined with my lovely co-host Maechen.
Hey there, Chisei.
Hey there. And let's go ahead and just jump straight into the standings. So in first place we have Surftaco with 5 points. In second place, Ram9 with 4. In third place we have a tie with Isvar, Alkor, and Kellz, all with 3 points. In fourth place we have Loji taking that last playoff spot currently, tied with KoushouHaou and Unhindered with 2 points. And finally in fifth place we have Funded and ChaseVsAll, both with 1 point. So let's go ahead and jump into the matches and see what things look like this week.
All right, here we got Brave Frontier led by ChaseVsAll, showing the Sephiroth, Adelard, and Seymour, facing off against Logical Fallacy, led by Loji, with Mia, Katone, and Summer Glaciella. Chisei, what do you predict is going to happen?
Yeah, so getting into this match, looking at what ChaseVsAll has, he has the 2 Katana units. So I'm wondering if he's going to be running those Katana VCs. I think the new Sephiroth VC, which is not out yet, is going to have the Red Mage connection, but I don't know what Red Mage connection that Katana currently has with each other, but I think it's enough because I've heard good things about Sephiroth with the new Gilgamesh. But coming over on Loji's side, we see the Mia and the Katone. The could be an evasion angle coming out, which could be very interesting from Loji's side. I know that Sephiroth was kind of the killer of the evasion meta back in the day, with destroying the Elnas of the time, but maybe with Katone having her new limit burst with guaranteed hit null, that might give her the edge needed. And I see the evasion up, so I do think it might be an evasion route coming out here from Loji. And we'll see here. Oh, wait a minute.
A steel heart right off the bat. Okay, but will Sephiroth hit her and cancel it? Let's see. She did not get her guaranteed hit null up, so that does take the charm away. And she is down below that health threshold for the courage. Summer Glaciella getting in there. Now she should be able to tank these hits coming from the fire units. Katone's up. Let's see if she drain forces back to full. If so, that would be good. Major healing, almost back to full. That's good news for Loji's side. Mia doing very minimal damage, but giving herself some hate as well. So maybe taking some of the heat off of Katone, although she's still in AoE range. She dodged that one, though, from Seymour. Sephiroth, let's see if he can hit. He does hit all 3. I believe that's a guaranteed hit move. Not a lot of damage, though. Tanked up really well by all 3 units, I think. Katone going back with the Drain Force, killing the Sephiroth. That's huge. Taking out the main damage dealer. These other 2 can hit hard, though, so I wouldn't count them out yet. They do have to get past a water unit, though, so that might be a little tricky. They got past... Mia's still alive with a little bit of health. I was going to say they got past her, but not quite yet. She mugs Seymour. I don't think he has anything to give her, though, so then he retaliates. Does get rid of the Mia, so now it is a 2v2, but you do have 2 MRs versus 2 URs. Loji slaps a paralyzing edge onto Seymour to make it a 2v1. Let's see what Glaciella can do against this fire unit. Nothing. She just heals and moves forward. Adelard does have his work cut out for him. Yeah, that's just not going to be enough damage, but we've seen crazier things with these kind of matches, how they end up. Let's see, Drain Force out there. That's big damage from Katone. And let's see if Glaciella can finish it off. Nope, not quite yet. Adelard. Oh, no, Katone gets to go again. Does she have enough? Nope, just needs a basic attack to finish off the fight. And there we have it. The winner is Loji. Chisei, what do you think of that match?
So yeah, going back to that match, the Katone was just an absolute beast. I mean, I could talk about the Summer Glaciella and how good of a tank she was and how durable she was in general, but honestly, it was kind of the Katone show. She almost 1v1 the Sephiroth, 1v1'd, I mean, honestly, the entire team. She's kind of kept on picking them off and going one by one for every single unit over on that side. So I am just kind of floored by how well the Katone did and her just durability and being able to heal back up to full after every single hit.
Yeah, that was a Katone showcase for sure. It brings me back to the days when she was all over the place, right after the EX upgrades and all of that. But the tech I would like to see at the very beginning was she used Ferris TMR, which is haste, of course, but it also gives HP up. So that's going to boost the power of both the Drain Force and the heal back, which we saw was the main factor in the match. I felt like ChaseVsAll did a good job kind of preparing for some of it. He had a lot of the elemental resist that the Loji runs. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like to have enough single target resist to resist that Drain Force, which was the major damage. That charm in the very beginning, thought that could turn the tide pretty quickly, but unfortunately Sephiroth decided to attack that Katone, and she wasn't dodgy then, so he was able to knock that charm out, and she just turned it into a Drain Force machine after that. So it was well designed by both players, but the edge obviously went to Loji, and I feel the key of the match was definitely using that Drain Force Katone.
Yep, completely agree. And like I said, she had just enough health to survive each hit. I don't know how much of that was due to the aura from Summer Glacier, or how much of that was just her raw HP and just bulkiness, but either way, just being able to survive every single hit and just do so much damage with that Drain Force every single time. Yeah, absolutely key of the match is Katone and her Drain Force ability. That was a Katone showcase, like you said. GG's to both players, and congrats to Loji.
GG's and congrats. Okay, next up we got the Glassy Animals, led by Get Enthused, aka Surftaco, with Etra, Glaciella, and Jaden the Celebrated. Facing off Soak and Destroy, led by Unhindered, with Surges, Lorenzo, and Young Elda. Let's see what they bring to the match. Let's get in it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, coming over from Get Enthused side, we have, always got to point out the Jaden with his physical shield. That is going to be massive against the all-physical team coming out from Unhindered. So, I am excited to see if he's going to be able to overcome that, because that's going to be very, very difficult, especially on a map this large. Jaden's probably going to be able to get plenty of buffs so that he won't have AP issues. But Elda's also going to be able to get off all of his buffs. So, I'm kind of disregarding the other two units, and I don't mean to, but honestly, with these two heavy hitters, it is going to come down to a lot of what they can do. The magic damage against Elda is going to be very good, and I also know that spear units on this map, because of the weird heights and ranges, really excel on this map. So I am very interested in seeing what both teams are going to be able to bring. So a little earlier, I saw Surges use the Jealous Wrath TMR, so it's always something to look out for, see if any berserks happen. Looks like he's going to be able to engage before that berserk runs off. He's definitely going to be in range of this Etra right here. So we're going to be able to see if he's able to land it coming out right now. All right, no berserk, but he does get some good damage.
I don't know if I caught. I think Surftaco might have done a berserk null TMR in the beginning, but I might have missaw that. But either way, let's see if they wear off and he's able to land at least one berserk towards the end. But here comes the big heavy hitter Jaden here, with going straight into the limit burst. I think this is only on the Surges, so it takes him off the map. Then Elda is going to get a chance to kind of retaliate. Is he going to be able to finish off that Etra?
Oh my god.
Yes. The Glaciella, very little damage. She soaked that up really well.
Yeah.
But now we got 2 in Pierce's 2, and it's a Pierce versus Pierce Bedlam. Let's see. Glaciella with her limit burst, taking about half the HP away from Lorenzo. He's going to be able to come back with a move of his own. Oh, but the retaliation on Glaciella did more to him than he did to her. That's going to hurt. Oh. Jaden finishes off the Lorenzo, but here comes Elda. We know what a beast he can be. If he can get past that physical shield on Jaden too, which he did. It's still minimal damage overall, but he's still hanging in there. He is positioned pretty well, but let's see what Jaden does. Okay, almost between 2.5 and 3k worth of damage. Elda's still looking healthy though. He responds with a limit burst of his own. Normally this would have CT implications, but not in this league. CT up and down is nulled. Does big damage against the Jaden. Glaciella actually responds with pretty decent damage as well. Jaden's gonna have a chance to do a little bit more damage this time, but Elda, as we see, is hanging in there, but Glaciella is going again with a basic attack. Cannot proc the re-raise though. So Elda's gonna, let's see, do one big hit, takes out the Jaden. Oh, but that Glaciella's been reacting. Oh my, that's down to the last turn. If she finishes him off here, it's she can't. She does not have enough AP to do anything more than that. What can? Oh, Elda doesn't have AP either, though. Yeah. So it's just a poking contest. But now Triple Piercer should finish Elda off, and that's it. Close finish. Chisei, what do you think?
First off, I want to completely apologize because I was focusing so hard on the celebrated Jaden and the Elda that the Glaciella, I was not expecting that much pierce resistance. That was absurd, honestly. She was taking triple digit numbers from every single member on Unhindered side, aside from the Elda, which she was like barely taking 1,000. It was masterfully tanked, and the only way that Elda was able to get some damage in towards the end was actually using his limit burst, because it brings down that pierce resistance. Because the Jaden himself was also only taking like 1,000, 2,000, even with his shield being gone. But once the limit burst landed, he started to take like 4,000 or 5,000. So it looks like Enthus was definitely prepared for this team coming out from Unhindered. Stacked tons of pierce resistance, clearly. There might have been some other resistances there as well, so maybe some water and ice resistance, but the pierce resistance was definitely on show because we saw how much more damage the Elda was able to do once the pierce resistance was down. But the Glaciella, I don't want to even guess, she probably took about 10 to 15 hits. I don't think she healed once and is still there at like 8,000 health. So she tanked masterfully and was able to deal some good damage herself, 3,000, 4,000 per hit. So I thought this was going to be an Elda or Jaden showcase. It was a Glaciella showcase through and through.
Exactly. Indeed, I agree with everything you said. It was really fun. I liked seeing the Pierce versus Pierce action. Etra there being the only non-Pierce unit, but it was a lot of fun, and it kind of teeter-tottered back and forth a little bit. But that, I think, as you pointed out, that tankiness on Glaciella just was too much, and it would have to give the key to the match to her tankiness. She was just able to survive so long that even after running out of AP, she still was standing and able to do hit. She did get those counters off too, which I think were huge because they were pretty big damage counters as well. So, but overall, her tankiness was pretty big. So, the key to the match to that.
Oh yeah, agreed. Pretty easy key of the match. I pretty much said everything already is the Glaciella. The tankiness, the damage. I don't want to give it to one particular thing. It's just her and the way that she was built for this match clearly shined in this match. So yeah, she herself is the key of the match for me. GG's to both players, and congrats to Enthused.
GG's and congrats. All right, next up we've got Isvar leading the Elda Enthusiast League with Young Elda, Minwoo, and Surges, going up against KoushouHaou's Mundivigant Aura Warriors with Surges, Summer Glaciella, and Astrius. So let's see what they bring.
Let's see. And coming straight off of last match, we see the Young Elda and Surges again. I was talking about how good spear units are in this map, and it proved that they definitely are, as long as the other team isn't stacking tons of pierce resistance. So let's see if KoushouHaou over on this side is stacking lots of pierce resistance. He does have a spear unit of his own also running the Surges. So it's a Surges versus Surges match off with Young Elda already being baited out without getting his buff off. So that is huge.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sorry, but yeah, that took me by surprise. But here we have Surges, who's waiting for me to get ready again, and then leaps in himself to poke that Young Elda. And then Surges and Surges going at each other. Minimal damage. Minwoo getting off a haste on Elda. we have Astrius, who did get a turn to buff, so he has a little bit of an advantage, doing some damage against the young Elda. Minwoo, let's see if she's going for another haste, and young Elda, minimal damage against that Glacialia. Let's see. Oh, we got a limit burst coming from Glaciella. She's going to go surfing, and let's see what she does. You know, for a tank, that's pretty good damage against the Elda. Minwoo's hasting herself up, staying out of the fight. Let's see, KoushouHaou surges. He has no AP. He's just going to go for a standard attack against Isvar surges. Isvar tries to obliterate his counterpart, runs off to the side for some reason. Then we got Astrius taking out a big chunk of damage, but Minwoo should be in healing range. Yep, and we've seen Minwoo do this a ton before, keeping people in the fight this way. But Elda out of AP, didn't get a lot back, but does basic attack Glaciella. Glaciella, who's immobilized, standard attacks. This is going to be quite the standard attack fest. Very few got enough buffs on. Astrius does get a haste buff on as well. Minwoo, it will be probably going another haste. Elda does get some piercing damage done on the other team. Surges, can he go to the back line? Let's see. He does. Oh, he got Doom on his Surges. Let's see how big this Doom is. We don't see it coming to back, but in this match where a lot of basic attacks are happening, it may be big. Let's see. Glaciella, again, doing very little damage, but as expected sometimes from the tank. Astrius does the double hit, doing a good chunk of damage there, but Minwoo again, not close enough and can't get in range to heal. Let's see. Astrius going again because he's hasted, again out of AP, but he does get to reapply his buff. All right, we got a lock screen, but the Doom Surges did an attack there. Glaciella doing a standard attack, that Elda getting dangerously low. We're just dooming the Minwoo also. Okay, and then Minwoo is charging. But she goes for Dream Inducer and put that Doom Surges to sleep, or to death, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Astrius putting Elda down. So we have two doomed units on one side versus an Astrius and Glaciella. It's not looking good for Isvar. Surges finally gets a buffa, maybe a little too little too late. Glaciella, she's probably going to be able to buff at this point. I don't think she's... Take that back. She does an Esper. Diamond Dust, one of the original Espers. Love the animation. Shiva's probably one of my favorite summons in all of Final Fantasies. Gotta love a good Diamond Dust animation. And let's see, very little damage. Let's see, Dream Inducer. What was it?
Ultima went off, and I was expecting a little more damage, but not a whole lot on the Astrius there. And they only have one turn each.
She's charging again, so that Doom counter is getting dangerously low. Let's see, Surges is done.
Oh no!
She just hastes herself to the Doom countdown. Glaciella tries to finish off the job before the Doom does, but the Doom gets her, and that is the game. Wow. I don't see that every day. Chisei, what do you think?
The match was, because neither side was able to get any buffs off, both sides were out of AP incredibly quick. So both sides were just auto-attacking for 90% of the match there. And clearly, unfortunately, Elda was not able to do a whole lot of damage because he was targeting the Glaciella, who was tanking extremely well. But because of that, he didn't get any AP, so he wasn't able to use his strong damaging moves. And he didn't have his AP restore, so he was constantly auto-attacking. And the Astrius, on the other hand, was able to not only use his stronger attacks, but was hitting harder because he wasn't targeting a tank, so he was hitting for like 4k each, and was able to use his buff, which gives himself, courage and AP restore. So he was able to keep on putting the damage downstream on the Elda, whereas the Elda unfortunately was only able to keep targeting the Glaciella and doing very little damage. But meanwhile, that was one fight. On the other side, the Surges was over there getting Doom on both of the backline units, which, like you said, we don't usually see that come into play, but in this fight we absolutely did. Like I said, the fight itself was a slap fest, but getting to see Doom go off on 2 different units was actually, I don't know, that was the highlight for me, being able to see that happen.
Agreed. That, as I said, you don't see that happen every day. Even when Doom lands, I believe it's a 4-tick or 4-turn countdown, and so you don't usually get to that point where you see units die, and to see 2 of them die that way is kind of impressive, especially against a Minwoo who is notoriously good at keeping her team healthy and staying in the back. She was going a little offensive there. Sorry, I think I called out the wrong move at one point, but she did major damage with her first offensive move, the Dream Inducer that took out the Surges. Then her Ultima did okay damage. Would she have been able to hang in there even without the Doom at the end? Probably not, but I do have to give the key to the match to the Doom just because we don't see it. Love to see it, and it was just a lot of fun. So that would be my key of the match.
See, that is the fun key of the match, and honestly, the Doom did actually have like a good impact. So I do want to give it to Doom, but I'll just be a little contrarian and give it the boring key of the match, which is just the initial placement, getting the Summer Glaciella out there to bait out the Elda on turn 1. Just Elda without his buffs was not, looking like the powerhouse we normally see him being, because he's ran out of AP and was resorted to auto attacking the whole time. So
agreed. Just
Glaciella getting out there, I mean, that definitely helped the match in KoushouHaou's favor a lot. So GG's to both players, and congrats to KoushouHaou.
Yes, GG's and congrats. All right, next up we got Who's Your Daddy, led by Alkor with Durando, Surges, and Young Elda, facing off versus Kellz' Feather Force with Surges, McLeod, and Fang. Let's see these Pierce teams in action.
Let's see. Because, we have basically 2 Pierce teams versus each other. We do have the imposter Durando hanging out over there on Alkor's side, pretending to be a Pierce unit, but other than that, like I said, this map definitely feels like a Pierce map, with the weird heights and all that stuff. It makes a lot of sense to bring Pierce. So Surges getting off the Berserk and Stop and Charm Nullify, so expecting that from the other side. And then Elda getting off his buff, which I've pointed out in the last few matches. We've seen a lot of Elda this tournament, really important, and rightfully so that Alkor got the buff off, because the Surges comes in with the Jealous Wrath, and Alkor also bringing the Jealous Wrath himself. Okay, this is you're gonna see some berserks happen, maybe. Definitely not on Kellz' side unless the buff wears off for Alkor, but does not look like Kellz was able to get Berserk Null, so there's the chance that this Durando can land some Berserks. So Elda getting off his shield, which is also going to be huge, especially because I said he has a big hill to overcome here, because he's going against a elemental disadvantage in Fang. And we've seen how much work this Kellz' Fang can do, so a little scared for Alkor's Elda, but I've said Elda's really good thousands of times, and it's proven me right thousands of times. So let's see how much damage. Oh, wow. That's pretty good damage.
Might come in big though. Durando does get to attack back, but he's going to be far behind, I think, for most of it. But Elda doing major damage to that McLeod, and Surges should be able to finish McLeod off. That's pretty big. McLeod can do a lot of damage, but not if he's dead. But here is what you were worried about, the Fang. She's doing the limit burst. I think it's on Surges, which means it's going to splash.
It is.
Let's see. That is big damage on the Surges, which, Kellz loves to see. Does not kill the Durando. Durando has a ton of HP. But until go down with the follow-up attack. Fang gets to go again and kill that Elda, but he gets the re-raise, but he's 2 versus 1, and that Fang has courage. It doesn't look good at this point. He does a little bit of damage to the Surges, and then Fang should be able to finish him off here, and she does.
Yep.
That is it. Once that got going, it ended quickly. Chisei, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it ended very quickly. A very high octane match, and it was what I was afraid of. It was the elemental disadvantage for the Elda, but honestly, that didn't even end up mattering too much, because what ended up mattering was the damage on the Surges, because as I've learned recently and pointed out every single time ever since I learned it, that no matter how much resistances or whatever that the enemies have, whatever damage is dealt to that unit that she targets with the limit burst, I think it's 75% of that damage is dealt in an AoE round. So even if they had all the pierce resistance and lightning resistance in the world, they're still taking 75% of that damage. So the fact that Surges took 11,000 damage and everyone else took 8,000 because of that, yeah, the fight was basically over from that point. It's just hard to come back from like a 28,000 damage hit. That being said, you know, very well done on Kellz' side, being able to probably predict this team from Alkor, you know, bringing the elemental advantage and having Fang positioned in such a way that she's able to get her buffs off and being able to deal massive amounts of damage. Very well set up on Kellz' side, and Alkor once again having the protect, having the barriers, having a lot of the tankiness. It's just unfortunate that the Fang was able to target the squishiest member of the group and deal massive amounts of damage.
Indeed, agreed. Yeah, the buff rotation on Alkor's side in the very beginning looked good. Elda had time for multiple buffs as the rest of the team. Kellz' side too, he had buffs off. Fang was able to get courage off. Both sides, I felt, did really good with the buff rotation. I don't know if Alkor would have been able to space out his units to avoid that splash damage. The problem with that then is that you don't get the good buff rotation. And what if the other side didn't bring Fang, because Fang wasn't the leading unit? So it's hard to kind of predict that splash damage and how to counter it in something like this. But unfortunately, that, as you said, that Fang was able to target that Surges, do massive damage to him, and take away most of the other HP from the other two units. It was game over at that point. So I would have to give the key to the match to that Fang limit burst. It's just too strong for this situation.
Yep, I mean, I feel like giving it to anything else would be a bit of an injustice. So it's I think it was probably the same key of the match I chose last week for Kellz' team, but I mean, it was so impactful last week. It's impactful this week. It swung the match. So yeah, I'm gonna also have to give it to Kellz' Fang's limit burst. It did some serious work. So GG's to both players, and congrats to Kellz.
GG's and congrats. Okay, for our final match, we have the Rock Boys, led by Ram9, with Surges, A2, and Shuzelt, going against Funded's Descending Angels with Adelard, Hope, and Sylvie. Let's see what these teams can bring into a fight.
Yep, let's start it up. So Ram9 side going, you know, straight off. We got the Ice Energy with Surges and the Great Source Energy with ChaseVsAll. Very, very strong team. I mean, not really too much to say besides you got 3 really solid units on his side that's going to be able to put out some serious damage. The ChaseVsAll has Courage if he gets that buff off online, and then the A2 has Re-Raise. So survivability and damage in spades. But on Initial Legion's side, a team after my own heart, as I will always say with any team with Hope, run into Hope. So I'm interested in seeing the buff rotation that he chose. He's charging, so it looks like it might be his lights. Oh, building. Okay, so getting the slash attack and magic resist up. So that could be really good. The slash attack res, especially against the ChaseVsAll. I know A2 has plenty of slash pin in her kit, so I don't know how much it's going to help against that. But against the ChaseVsAll, it should help with mitigating a little bit of that damage. And then with the Hope, he also has the Sylvie there as the support. Really good support, but not just a support, but can put out some really good damage as well. And not only that, he actually has 2 buffs turned on for Hope, which is a bit of a surprise because his AI can be a little bit tricky once you have 2 buffs online. So glad that he was able to get the 2 buffs off. And if he has his VC equipped, then those buffs are going to last for 4 turns. So he also gets the magic and the physical damage up as well. Both units are now hasted, so they are ready to start putting out some damage. And A2 is not in range to start dealing damage yet, which is going to be good for Hope because he should be in range now to deal damage of his own. So it looks like he might be able to get first blood right here. Or, okay, or not, but he does. And he lands the stun.
Stun on Chazelt, and a big damage on Chazelt as well. A little bit of damage on the A2, which kind of is the biggest threat here. Surgis is running forward, and then we got A2, so let's see what she can do. Almost one-shots the Hope, but not completely. He's still alive. And Sylvie, we know how great her limit burst can be. Here she comes. She's going to make a wish, give Hope a barrier, and fill up his HP. Back to full. And then we got Chazelt, who is no longer stunned. Does major damage to the Hope, but Hope is still alive thanks to that barrier. And we got a reflex, the first one, but this one hit A2 and drop her AoE resistance. It's the Black Rose Helena VC ability.
Oh, man.
Hope goes back and is charging. Oh, another reflex from Chazelt. Does some damage, more damage to A2, whittling her down. Let's see, is Sylvie Knight's Blessing, another barrier, and back to full. Good tech there. Surgis not in range to do any more attacks, so he's just going to buff up. A2, let's see, they're all lined up for a big AoE, so let's see. Good damage, but not killing any of them. Probably wanted to see at least one go down there, but that Knight's Blessing coming into play. Chazelt also hitting all three, and that's doing all the damage. We do get a re-raise on Sylvie, though, and she won't go before the A2, though, so it's going to be a little tricky on Funded side at this point. Well, there you go. Adelar just taking out the Surges, saying, I'm taking out as many people as I can. A2 finishing off the fight there with a nice another AoE, and that ended the match. Chisei, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think both sides, I really loved the initial rotations on both sides. Like I said, having used Hope myself and knowing how big of a struggle getting his buff rotations off is, that was a very, very well done buff rotation over on Funded side. And same goes for Ram 9 as well. The buffs that each side used were very well thought out. I saw the Aurora of Blessings coming out from Surgis, getting that light resist buff online, and and knowing Funded has a large roster of light units is a very smart call as well. But ultimately, as I kind of alluded to in the beginning of the match, A2 is just a hard unit to overcome. They have the survivability. Didn't even get to pop the re-raise. She still had a whole re-raise to still go through. And she was very healthy by the end of it because she has sustain for days and damage for days. So, but once again, like I said, the Sylvie over on Funded side being able to heal Hope back up to full twice and giving him barriers twice, against any other unit besides like A2 and a couple other of these new meta units, that team would have just destroyed. But unfortunately, it was A2. So, unfortunately, I think the rotation was good. The damage was clearly there. We saw the Fisher being able to almost one-shot the Chazelt, and we saw the Adelard actually one-shotting the Surges. We never got to see the Sylvie's damage because she was too busy on healing duty, but the damage was there on Funded side. It was just trying to survive the onslaught of A2 was just too much.
Agreed. I really like the buff rotation being, like you pointed out during the buff rotation, is like some of those AIs, Sylvie and Hope, they're really hard to kind of master. You don't want them to get into buff loops. And he had just the right balance of buffs with moving forward kind of thing. And he did engage very well. Like he got some Fishers off, stunning Chazelt. Unfortunately, once A2 and Chazelt were able to chain up their slash AoEs, it was too much at the end. And so we'd have to, like you said, have to give the key of the match just to A2 being just such a strong recent unit, being able to withstand all those barriers and heal back. She just was able to outlast them. So that would be my key of the match, is just going to A2. And what do you think?
Once again, hard to disagree. Pretty much every unit in this fight, for the most part, put on a good show doing exactly what they needed to do. But the one that just kind of stood out among the rest was the A2. The damage she was able to consistently put out and the pressure on the Sylvie to keep healing, and her tanking the damage from the Hope very, very well. I mean, she was a one-woman wrecking crew right there. So, yeah, I'm giving it to A2 as well. So, GG to both players, and congrats to Ram 9.
GG's and congrats. All
right, after another week of explosive matches, here are the standings. So in first place, we have Surftaco with an undefeated 6-0 record. In second place, we have Ram9 with 5 points. In third place, we have Kellz with a 3-3 record, but has the 1 extra standing point, so he is at 4 points right now. Tied for fourth, we have Loji, KoushouHaou, and Isvar, with Isvar taking the last playoff spot, but also Alkor, who all 3-3 records. But right now, in terms of kills, Isvar is currently a little ahead of Alkor with 1 extra kill, and right now, so he has that playoff spot. In fifth place, we have Unhindered with 2 points, and then in sixth place, we have Funded and ChaseVsAll. Yeah, another really exciting week of matches. We'll do my usual PSA to remind everybody to try and use all of your units if possible. And like I said, you can see right there with Kellz, same 3-3 record as everyone else, but it does have that extra standing point, putting him at third place. And if he didn't have that, with only 9 kills, he would actually currently be out of playoffs. So that's the difference that that extra standing point can make right now. And also, as a reminder, if you have done that, if you have used every unit, make sure to tell me or Numero, probably Numero because I am not that responsible, but I don't think we're checking every week to see if everyone's used all their units. So be sure that if you know that you have, please let Numero know so that we can get you that extra standing point. All right, so thanks everyone again for a wonderful week. Hope to see you guys again for the next video, and thanks again.
Thank you, everybody. All right, and I believe we do have a special treat for those that have been sticking around to the end of the video, so let's get into that.
Yep, you're gonna love this match. I'll say that much.
Okay, viewers, we got a bonus match for you this week. 2 of our players submitted an extra match. We are seeing an Alkor Surges versus a Kellz Surges. I think Surges was the most unit we've seen. I think he was in 7 of the 10 teams this week, so it's only fitting that we end with a Surges versus Surges. We'll see what they can bring. I think this is just going to boil down to whoever can land that Doom first, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. So going into this match, I'm expecting it's very smart for them both to bring Pierce units here. Oh, we got the AP auto restore. Will Kellz get baited out? Oh, he gets baited out. Oh no.
But he's got the regen on. That could be big too, especially in this powerhouse matchup. See, that regen might come in. Yep, there we go.
That regen actually might come in huge.
His regen on, that would be good. But who's got the better surges? I do not know. Oh, still good damage, but it's about equal. The regen is tipping the scales again. Obliterate, but no Doom. And Alkor, who has plenty of AP, Vacuum Slash, not doing enough damage. Maybe if he just only turned on Obliterate, we'd have something. But Alkor has all the AP.
Oh, the
and
dodge!
Misses a leaping jump and turns his back to Kellz. You never turn your back to Kellz.
Never. Never.
He's got poked in the back by Kellz, and now Alkor, turn around, Surges.
But he has his regen.
And now he's got the regen, so... Oh, but he's not dead.
He's not dead. Can he get one more leaping assault?
Regen.
Nighthawk. Oh no.
Nighthawk. Oh, Kellz is
72 HP. And he doesn't die.
What is happening? I do not know, but the regen on Alkor's side.
What is this?
What is happening? Do they have infinite courage or something?
There's the Doom.
There's the Doom.
You called it.
I did. They have 34 actions remaining.
And he chained with himself.
He lapped him because he didn't move, and he was able to kill him before the Doom set in. GG's, I did not see that coming. I would have to give the key to the match to Minwoo. What do you say, Chisei?
You called it in the beginning. I'm going to have to give it to the Doom. The Doom really played a huge part there. You saw once the Doom landed, Alkor died the next turn. I don't think it's a coincidence, so Doom was definitely a key part of that match for me. So,
GG's to both Surges, and congrats to Surges.
Yep, GG's to Surges.